We're gonna explain earnings per share today. We're gonna go into the math. It's not that difficult, don't worry. And my Botox just kicked in, so you'll have no idea if I'm being sarcastic or not. I'm trying to be angry. It's not working out. Class is in session. Remember, a stock is just a tiny piece of a company, and share is the quantity of ownership. So I own 100 shares of Apple. 100 is the quantity Apple stock ownership. Get it? Here we go. All right. Now, since it's just a company, it has revenue and expenses. Revenue are just sales. It could be a good or a service. For example, Apple sells iPhones, but it has services like iCloud and things like that. I'm using easy numbers for easy math. This is an extreme example, okay? So revenue is what the company makes. Expenses are the costs that the company has. The difference of those two equals net income, which is just our profit in dollars. In this case, it's $50 million. If we were going to take the net income as a percent of revenue, you would get your profit margin, which is 50%. In class, companies want to expand their profit margins, which means they want to have more sales, increase their revenue, or they want to reduce their expenses. Keep that in mind as we go forward. It's basic math, don't worry. If we were to take our net income and subtract out preferred dividends, which are just dividends that are required to be paid, video for another day, and divide that by the weighted average of shares outstanding. In this example, I'm using 10 million. Again, easy math. If we were to take 50 million divided by 10 million, then you get the earnings per share. A company announces buybacks and all of a sudden the stock skyrockets. In math, we have a numerator and we have a denominator. If your denominator gets smaller, you are going to have a larger output. So if a company announces buybacks, they buy back some shares, you're going to have a lower denominator. So in this example, say they are buying back 5 million shares, which is an extreme example. Again, easy math, but 50 divided by 5 is 10 EPS. So if everything stayed the same, you have higher earnings because you have less shares outstanding because it's earnings per share. Less shares, higher earnings. When a company does announce buybacks, we must ask, but why? Now, you will often hear me say that the stock market is not the economy. It's actually a bunch of stocks, which are a bunch of companies, which means it's businesses, which means the economy affects those businesses. So let's revisit those revenue and expenses, shall we? Under expenses, we have your cost of goods sold. You might need gas and oil to source it. So supply chain disruptions like tariffs or closing of straits or even COVID are going to increase your expenses and thus shrink said profit margin. And remember, companies will always protect the profit margins. And then you have operating expenses, which are your salaries and rent. So if inflation goes up, inclusive of salaries, that increases expensive. If there is a company that's borrowing a lot and interest rates rise, that will affect them. And then taxes as well. And then we look at this collectively to understand the health of the stock market. We can look at sectors, industries, yada, yada. And that's how you calculate earnings per share. Please leave me an apple for extra credit in the comments and give me a term or inspiration and I shall whiteboard it for you. Sorry, I can't. I'm trying to be angry. We have fun over here in my little